Welcome, welcome. So it is so nice to be here with you all. Welcome to the JB Font Show. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. It is so good to see you all. And the JB Font Show is also available in some major podcast platforms like Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can also subscribe on there. So please make sure to do that. I'm also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can find me on the JB Show on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RBN. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you're new to the channel. And please make sure to smush that subscribe button. I promised you cookies. If I do, then hopefully I will. I don't know. I don't even have cookies in my house right now, unfortunately. It is what it is. But I also want to, give you guys a shout out that are my coffee supporters. Coffee supporters are, people who are, subscribed to me that are honestly just helping me to, do better on my channel. So I am very grateful. Thank you to coffee supporters David Michael, Kush Renata, Socialist Cayman, Rebecca, Cedar Change, Robin During, Michelle D. Village, Spunky Wombat, Robin, and Eric Thomas. Thank you all so much for your contributions. I am deeply humbled and I appreciate it. So, just wanted to say hello to everybody. Raziel the Great, yes, I am excited, and I had a couple hiccups before I went live. I thought I was live, and then I started talking, and then nothing was live, and so, yeah, I'm not the most coordinated person, and I do apologize for that, but it is what it is. Eric T, good to see you. Nice to have you in. I wasn't trying to be late, Raziel. I wasn't. Look, I was doing the show and I didn't hit live, so y'all didn't get to see it yet. So my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Sabby's like a mom. You always keeping you from being late to practice. Yeah, she is. Yeah. And Tony Plow, it's so good to see you. So, as you guys can tell from the thumbnail, there's a lot of politicians on there. And also people who are now watching on Twitch. Welcome. Nice to have you here as well. If you like to respond on Twitch, you guys can respond on Twitch, and I can also see your comments on here as well. Look, I'm gonna be real. Y'all being played. And I'm not talking about a lot of people who are listening, who have been following for a while, who already know about the game, who already know that the jig is up and all that. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking about to a lot of people right now who think that, oh, the Democrats are the good guys, or Republicans, they're the good guys, right? That's who I'm talking to. Y'all. Yes, y'all. That's what I'm talking to. Y'all being played, man. And I had to get on the stream because I saw a tweet by somebody, and they were talking about how, it's all one team, bro. Y'all being bamboozled out here, and you guys don't even realize it. Like, and I think that's the biggest trick is to trick somebody that doesn't know they're being tricked, right? But I'm on here trying to wise y'all up, because everybody, and plus a lot more people that you see on that thumbnail, let me tell you, they're just keeping you all, in the dark. Now, some seem like they're trying to, open up things to you and make things seem like, they're trying to reveal, more to you and try to be more honest and truthful. But at the same time, they may have seemed like that, a couple of years back, but not anymore. So that's one of the reasons why, I decided to do the stream. Now, look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm not the most eloquent guy. I'm not the most, coordinated guy. So if it seems like I'm being a little bit all over the place, I might be, but stay with me and you guys you'll see what I'm trying to get at. Raziel, just to let you know, I'm not even gonna try for Rockfin until I get to maybe 1,000 subs. Right now, I'm not even at 500 yet. I'm working on getting there. So once I get there, then I'll try for Rockfin. Tony, yeah, we really miss Harry Reid, right? Yeah, no, yeah, no, we don't. And Eric says propaganda only works when people don't know they're being propagandized. Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, hold on, let me do that. Is that people seem to think, and we're about to head into 2022. Today's December 30th. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. Within this next coming year or in 2024, you're going to hear the phrase, this is going to be the most important election in our lifetimes, especially in 24. You're going to hear that. They're going to be like, don't let fascism win. Go to Act Blue and donate today. That's what they're going to do. And I'm here to tell you that the biggest fundraisers that help the Democratic Party is the Republican Party. It was George Carlin who said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Do you realize how real that is? I got some tweets, and I want to give a shout out to Waiting on Biden on Twitter. I want to give a shout out to that person because they put up a thread of a lot of things that Biden has either failed to do or promised to do and he didn't do. And it's a pretty good thread. And I'll link it in the chat for you guys. But it's called Holding Biden Accountable. And it's a thread. It says, here marks 200 days since Biden became president. Here's every promise he's broken so far. And this one talks about Biden said he would send a third stimulus check. That didn't happen. Biden promised that he would partially forgive student loan debt. We all know that's not going to happen. Biden promised that he would raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. That didn't happen. Biden promised he would lower the Medicare eligibility age and implement a public option. That was a hell no. Biden promised he would beat COVID by listening to experts and implementing a nationwide mask mandate. Well, by the way, he's not doing that. And plus, he basically just said, you know what? I'm going to leave it all up to the states. And he said, screw y'all. Bye. Going on vacation. So he basically did that. Biden said he would cure cancer. Y'all knew that was a lie from the jump. Y'all knew that was a lie. Y'all should have known that was a lie. And this isn't just talking about Biden. Biden has done basically everything that Trump either wanted to do or did do. And it's up to people to realize that they're being played by both parties. This is really about not left versus right, but class. There is a solidarity among people like Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They are one and the same, and they're basically agree on everything. They just don't want you to know that they agree on everything. Because if you knew that, then you would be, up to speed on the grift. Why is it that I say that Democrats and Republicans are the same? Well, look at the policy. All right, let's go let's go to Obama. Okay, the patron saint of Black Americans, Obama. Right, the patron saint of Black Americans. Insider says, "R.I.P. to Bush tax cuts. Thanks to last night's fiscal cliff, this was from 2013, by the way, we now put to bed the term the Bush tax cuts. As of now, they are the Obama tax cuts." That's right. Barack Obama took the Bush tax cuts, which were tax cuts for the wealthy, and he made them permanent. Why would you want to cut tax cuts for the rich and you talk about that the rich don't pay enough of their fair share in taxes? Why would you cut them? Oh, that's right. Because even Obama said that in reality, he's more like a Republican than he is a Democrat. Ooh. So that's one thing. Let's not forget about the Dakota Access Pipeline as well. That was a big thing too. I mean, Obama could have really fought for that, but he didn't. In fact, he allowed the National Guard to basically pummel people and, spray water cannons on people in freezing weather. Um, that was one thing that a lot of people don't really know about. The Dakota Access Pipeline, and Obama could have did his best to stop it, because I mean, wasn't he supposed to be the president that was for environmental safety? Sounds very Republican-esque to me. You would think they're both in the same party. Hmm. There's that there. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is one of the reasons why I love the chat, because they also come with receipts too, and a lot of info. Sabby. Hey Sabs, good to see you in here. What was Oh yeah. Eric read, so you can go vote for the other Biden. Yeah. What Raziel says, I simply tell people follow the money. Oh, let me show you the Open Secrets. Yeah, Open Secrets is a great platform to use in order to find out about the parties. I give credit to Sabby for this. Go to Sabby Sab's podcast. Go subscribe to her. She's wonderful. But look at her streams, and she actually brought out that if you go to Open Secrets, you'll find out that was it Sally Mae? Sally Mae donated, bribed really, but donated not only to Republicans but also to Democrats too. So if they're donating to both of them, what does that tell you? That means it doesn't matter who's in office. I mean, if it doesn't matter who's in office, then why are we doing this whole Democrat versus Republican bullshit? It doesn't make any sense. Need I say more? let's go here. One of my favorite lists that Nick from RBN showed me. And this is Biden versus Trump. When it comes to Joe Biden, look at the list. The amount of COVID cases has went up. The amount of COVID deaths have went up. The amount of oil drilling has went up. Let's stop there for a second. As far as the oil drilling is concerned, let me ask you, who said that they were going to be listening to the scientists? If that person said that they were going to listen to the scientists, and then we realized that we were in a climate crisis, and so oil drilling would contribute to the environmental crisis, also what I like to know as the environmental clusterfuck that we are experiencing within this country, why are you going to do things that help contribute to it? Mind you, by the way, also drilling permits weren't also approved, and fracking permits were approved and raised by Biden. They were also done by Obama right before Obama left office. Student debt is on the rise. By the way, also, just to let you guys know, the bill that prevents people from declaring bankruptcy on student debt was written by Joe Biden himself. So the reason why you guys can't declare bankruptcy on your student debt, thank the President of the United States. You're welcome. Oh, by the way, we still have migrants in cages. Or as those of us said, concentration camps. Or as some people don't like us saying that, so maybe that might be a little bit offensive, and I do apologize. But they basically are, internment camps. I'll say that, internment camps for people. Kids are still in cages, and that's still not said among people who support Biden, even though they were railing against Trump. Migrant kids lost. Migrant families separated. This was a huge thing back when Trump was president, and yet it's still going on. And it seems like Biden ain't doing nothing about it. It seems like everybody went to sleep. It seems like everybody went. And nobody's saying anything. Deportations went up under Biden. In fact, what did they call Obama? The deporter in chief. ICE funding in power, more police funding. In fact, Biden actually talked about that he wanted to give more funding to police. I find it funny how Republicans will paint Democrats as they're for defund the police when Biden said he's not. And the funny part is, defund the police is actually a good policy because it actually takes the money from police, divest from the police, and reinvest in neighborhoods so that you can actually increase the material conditions for people who are living in poverty. Because typically people who are in poverty end up committing crimes of desperation and opportunity in order to improve their lives, in order to keep living. So, of course, Joe Biden's not for that. He's basically like, screw you. And if you try to improve your life, even if it means violating this arbitrary law, guess what? You go to prison. We're making your poverty illegal. And you only can get out of poverty by basically exploiting people for profit like the other billionaires do. Police militarization has went up. Incarceration has gone up. Murders have gone up. I don't even know what that means. I mean, we've been in a pandemic, so I would expect murders to be down, but only because of that. But I mean, if you want to count police murders, well, because police do murder, well, I guess I can concede to that. Military spending has went up. In fact, they just approved over $760 billion in the Senate for military spending. By the way, the military is also one of the major polluters in the United States. In the world, actually. Weapons aid for genocidal for Saudis, weapons and aid for genocidal Israelis. Look at what's going on with the Palestinians. Who voted for the Iron Dome? There's a lot of Democrats, including some people who consider themselves to be progressive, who consider themselves to be in line with people who are Palestinian, who say they show support. Illegal and cruel sanctions, is warfare. Just look at how people are suffering in these countries, because it doesn't necessarily affect the governments, it affects the people. Evictions are up. Tax cuts for the rich are up. Wealth disparity is up. Definitely. The value of minimum wage has actually went down. Relief checks are less than Trump's, and unemployment benefits are down. Sounds like a Republican's wet dream, if you ask me. I mean, look at this list. Here's my thing. If you're a Republican or if you're a conservative and you're against Biden, why? He's doing everything you want. And please don't talk about the culture war bullshit. Please don't talk about that. Because Biden even agrees with you there. He just doesn't say it. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, when it comes down to the actual foundation, this is what you guys want. You guys are like, oh no, we don't want open borders. Well, Biden got you there. You guys want more ICE funding, more police funding? Biden's got you there. You guys want to drill, baby, drill? Guess what? Biden's got you there. You guys want to increase the military? Biden's got you there. You guys want to support the state of Israel, even though it's deeply apartheid? Biden's got you there. You guys want to cut taxes for job creators, which means the rich? Biden's got you there. Biden's got you every which way. And yet you're like, we don't like Biden. What? Really? Come on. Let's look at this list. Ay. Let's go to the chat. Vecchio says, it is the long con and they can see us as their marks. Very well said. Absolutely. Yeah, whatever man says, you ain't black because you criticize Obama. Yeah, apparently I'm not black because, well, I apparently exist as a monolith within the black community because, he's black, I'm black, we should all agree just because the color of our skin. Yeah. And yes, Eric, wealth inequality, that is a big thing. Right now, what's going on is there's huge wealth disparities. And part of it is because that we live in a system that is built on, profit over people, so that profit is seen as the most important thing. If you have a system that emphasizes its profit instead of people, then therefore, guess what? Who's going to lose out? The people. Capitalism, the main operative word in capitalism is capital. What is capital another word for? Money. It's basically moneyism. Capitalism is just another word for moneyism. And so if that's your main focus, then that's what it's going to be. Never mind the systems that where the operative word is society or the operative word is community. But what do I know? Let's, by the way, this is a great list. Let me put this in chat just for y'all, because I love y'all. And like consciously said, education is elevation. All right, I'm closing these things out as I go because I get confused as hell. But these are some great resources here to go back to. And these are some exhaustive lists, by the way, that I think you guys will benefit from. If in case you guys are talking to people and you basically are saying the same thing that I'm saying, and then people are like, oh, no, Democrats are better than Republicans. No, they're not. Not at all. Okay, so let's talk student loans. I know some people in the chat are like, what? Yeah, I need my student loans to be paid off. And yet, they don't want to do it. Yeah, this is it. I want to give a shout out to Sabby for showing me this last night. Oh boy, it's a doozy. Some of y'all probably saw it already, but some people haven't seen it yet. So let's give this a look here. Oh, and let me mute my microphone for this. And this is with interview with Kamala Harris, by the way, on CBS.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says it's delusional for Democrats to think they're going to win control in 2022 if they don't do something about the filibuster and student debt. Will we see any movement on student debt in the new year?
So I know that Secretary Cardona, the Secretary of Education, is working on what we can do and must do, frankly, to relieve the pressures of student loan debt. And it's a real issue. Students across, graduates and former students across our country are literally making decisions about whether they can have a family, whether they can buy a home.
Okay, I want to stop right there. Okay, so she agreed to the premise that is a deeply serious issue that needs to be alleviated. Okay, so I want you guys to continue to hear the question: basically, are we going to do anything about student loan debt? Because she agrees that it needs to be done, and she is literally the vice president of the United States, aka the president of the Senate. By the way, just letting you guys know. Just want to preface that there. Let's.
I'll date myself, but, I had student loan debt. I remember I had that coupon book and I had to fill out the coupon and write the check every month. And it's no small matter. And we need to figure out a way to relieve debt. So it's a fair issue in terms of the seriousness of the issue. Voting, we've discussed. It is a very big issue. And what I believe we must do is continue to be vigilant and fighting for folks who have a right to be seen and their circumstances to be heard and understood, because we have the ability to actually alleviate the burdens that people are carrying that make it difficult for them to get through the day or the month.
But do you think you need to deliver on that promise before 2022?
Which promise?
On debt forgiveness for student loans?
Well, I think that we have to continue to do what we're doing to figure out how we can creatively relieve the pressure that students are feeling because of their student loan debt. Yes.
Okay, so she gave a word salad answer. That would have been just a yes or no question, to be honest with you. But it is what it is whatever. But here's the question. Can anything be done as far as student loans? Well, here's what Kamala Harris is going to tell you. Well, we need to convene, with Congress and try to work something out. need to talk and see what can be done, if we can come to an agreement with Republicans and blah, blah, blah. She's going to lay a whole bunch of bullshit your way. The only thing that really needs to be done is Obama needs to call in Secretary Cardona, the education secretary, and he can have him literally cancel the student debt that is on the books in the United States government, which is a stroke of a pen. It's that easy. But they don't want to. And this goes into the question that I asked in the outset of this stream in a poll. And I asked basically, are Democrats trying to win at all? I'm going to answer that in a second. But that's one of the things that shows they failed on student loan debt. Okay? Failed. What else did they fail on? Well, let's go here. They failed on student loan debt. And they're going to keep failing on it, by the way. This isn't a guess. This is basically me telling you how it is. Let's go here. And you guys have seen this before. This was during the primaries. Let's go. Oh, let me mute my mic. Just 1 second.
Other candidates, this kind of question, veto question. Let's flash forward. Your president, Bernie Sanders, is still active in the Senate. He manages to get Medicare for all through the Senate in some compromised version, the Elizabeth Warren version or other version. Nancy Pelosi gets a version of it through the House of Representatives. It comes to your desk. Do you veto it?
I would veto anything that delays providing the security and the certainty of health care being available now. If they got that through and by some miracle, and there was an epiphany that occurred, and some miracle occurred that said, okay, it's passed, then you got to look at the cost. I want to know, how did they find the $35 trillion? What is that doing? Is it going to significantly raise taxes on the middle class, which it will? What's going to happen?
Hold up. Okay, number one, the $35 trillion. How did they find the $4 trillion in order to prop up the stock market last year? Where did they find it? I mean, if they can find $4 trillion to prop up the stock market artificially last year, then I guess that they can also find, $35 trillion in order to help us with our healthcare, right? Am I wrong? Did I miss something? Oh, and what about the over $700 billion, $760 billion that we're doing for the defense budget this year? What happened? Wow, he sounds like a Republican, doesn't he? Let's continue.
Look, my opposition isn't to the principle that you should have Medicare. I mean, everybody, healthcare should be a right in America. My opposition relates to whether or not, A, it's doable, two, what the cost is, and what the consequences for the rest of the budget are. How are you going to find $35 trillion over the next 10 years without having profound impacts on everything from taxes for middle class and working class people, as well as the impact on the rest of the budget?
How are you going to find $35 trillion over the next 10 years? How in the hell did we find $7 trillion over the next 10 years? 7.6 trillion. How do we find that? How do we find $4 trillion just to do in one point in time? How do we find that? Is it doable? Absolutely. Section 1881A of the Social Security Act gives the powers of the presidency to give Medicare to anybody who is experiencing a health care crisis. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and yet no Medicare for everybody. Excuse me. I don't have COVID, by the way, so that cough wasn't for that. Calm down. But let's be real. He didn't want to do it. Is that a failure, or is that just they just didn't want to do it? By the way, shout out to Dee Dee. I see you, Dee Dee. You know what's crazy is when someone who's in the opposite party runs to the left of Biden. Hold up. I want y'all to peep this.
That can't afford private, but
universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of much better than they're taken care of now.
The uninsured person,
right,
is going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of.
How?
I would make a deal with existing hospitals to take care of people. And you know what? This is probably
make a deal. Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side. Everybody's got to be covered. This is an unRepublican thing for me to say, because a lot of times they say, no, the lower 25%, they can't afford private. But
universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of much better than they're taken care of now.
The uninsured person,
right,
is going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of.
How?
I would make a deal with existing hospitals to take care of people. And you know what? This is probably
make a deal. Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side. Everybody's got to be covered. This is a
Well, it's funny when people want votes and people actually want, to get the votes from people, and they want to make it seem like they're actually fighting for them. Then they'll say, even if they're a Republican, what did Biden say? Biden said, I would veto it. And Trump said, I would just do it. Like, what is this? Are we living in a twilight zone? Now, of course, they wouldn't dare either of them do it. Why? Because they actually don't really give a shit about people, and they don't give a shit about any of us, so they're not going to do it. But at least Trump acted like he wanted to do it. It's crazy, right? Do the Democrats actually want to win? Do they? That's a question that a lot of people need to ask themselves, especially. Let's go back to the chat. Tony Plow says Obama tried hard to negotiate that grand bargain. Medicare and Social Security were on the table the whole time. Yeah, in fact, wasn't there a story that came out that Bernie Sanders was thinking about primarying Obama? Yeah, they didn't want that. Tony Plow says every time the Republicans are in power, it's the end of the world. Then everyone celebrates when Dems win. Then all the same crap continues to happen. Raziel says, remember, it's actually not your neighbor who's icky. It's the corporate establishment right wing that's icky. My Trump supporting neighbors want Medicare for all. And you know what's funny? Everybody deserves and wants healthcare. It's a human issue. That's all it really is. So a lot of people are going to hate me for this one, but hey, sorry, but we got to keep this going. Yep. I'm sorry, guys, but she's part of it too.
It's something that has been obviously very difficult, but
the
that is what
question,
happened that day.
Congresswoman, the question that a lot of people asked me to ask you this is, was it worth doing present? Because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting against it. Do you regret that?
You know, it is something that I weigh, because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no, but in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish. So in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx. But in the macro, it was very difficult, yes.
Yeah, so let me go back there. Just a second. Just a second. So what you mean to tell me is that you regretted your vote? Let's show. It says tears on the House floor. AOC appears to be crying as the House passed the $1 billion funding for Israel's Iron Dome. She voted no and then switched her vote to present at last minute. So here's the crazy part.
It's something that has.
If you're truly about anti-imperialist, anti-apartheid type of policy, why are you on the fence? Are the Democrats really trying to win? That's the question. Let's go some more receipts. %55% of military spending goes to contractors. Arms companies will likely get more money from Biden's Pentagon budget than the public got through its $1,400 stimulus check. Over half of the Pentagon budget goes to for-profit companies. So basically, the Pentagon budget is basically just a corporate windfall. What about reining in these corporations, making them pay their fair share? Nah, just give them the money. More money than even they gave us, right? I mean, look, we have to be real about especially what both parties do. Senate sends $768 billion defense bill to Biden. It passed. It passed. And here's the crazy part. The Senate voted 88-11 to pass the National Defense Authorization Act. 88-11. You mean to tell me that 88 people, both Dems and Republicans, voted for the defense bill? The Department of Defense, which contributes to our pollution, which contributes to millions and millions of people dying at the hands, of our military for the sake of corporations to extract resources from other nations. And they want to keep, arms and boots on the ground going into other countries. By the way, we're not out of Afghanistan. That's a bunch of bullshit. We're still flying drones and shit and bombing people over there. The war's not over. We have over 800 military bases around the world. The United States is still at war with the world. Let's be real about that. Yes, the defense is dirty business. And yes, Lawrence, how are we going to pay for it? Shall we move on? Hang on. Oh, yes. Donald Trump said that he wanted to fund the police more. Guess what? Biden did too. Instead of reallocating and reinvesting into neighborhoods, he wants to just fund the police more. Bash our heads in, why don't you? Biden backs funding more to police for the fight crime wave. It's funny. You know what fuels a crime wave? A wave of poverty. If you really wanted to fight the crime wave, you would actually take that money, instead of giving it to the police, then you would actually give it to people in these underprivileged neighborhoods and these disenfranchised communities. So then they could actually not be impoverished and not commit these crimes of opportunity and crimes of desperation. Maybe, just maybe, that will work. But no. You gotta fund the zookeepers instead of letting people actually live their lives in a dignified way. Yeah. The president urged cities and states to use $350 billion of funding from a COVID-19 relief bill on public safety efforts, including add more police officers even beyond pre-pandemic levels. So he wants even more police than we had before the pandemic. Biden's crime fighting strategy calls for curtailing rogue gun dealers and firearms tracking. Jeez Louise, I tell you. But what is the difference? Please point out the difference between each party. One of the things that people need to realize is people say the phrase, "Oh, the Democrats are failing." They're not failing. They're not. I'm going to peep y'all into what's really going on. What the Democrats are doing, and what AOC said that if we don't, cancel student loan debt and do a couple other things, then, the Democrats are done in the midterms and possibly in 24. Well, guess what? That was the plan the entire time. The plan is to lose. Why is the plan to lose? Because they agree with Republicans. People are like, no, they don't. They may agree on a couple things, but they don't agree on everything. Yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Guess what? When it comes to student loan debt, they agree with Republicans. This is why they're not passing anything. They literally could pass these things. They literally could pass $15 an hour minimum wage. Instead, they want to blame Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema. They want to blame the parliamentarian. What would I I always bring up? Right? Y'all got me stuttering over here. What do I always bring up? Right? I'm always talking about the rotating villain. God damn it. I even still have it, I even have it saved here. Let me show y'all. Got me stuttering and shit. Let me show y'all. The rotating villain. If you don't know what this is, if I haven't taught you all anything, I want y'all to know this. Rotating villain. What does it mean? It says in American democracy, when the majority party has enough votes to pass populist legislation, party leaders designate a scapegoat, i.e., Kristen Sinema, Joe Manchin, the Republicans, the parliamentarian, whatever, who will refuse to vote with the party, thereby killing the legislation. The opposition is otherwise inexplicable and typically comes from someone who is safe or not up for re-election. By the way, Joe Manchin is not up for re-election for another 4 years. Just an example. This allows for maximum diffusion of responsibility. So guess what? This means that in order to make it seem like they're fighting, they have to have a boogeyman. Right now, his name is Joe Manchin, or Kristen Sinema, or the parliamentarian. Guess what? When we have more Republicans, then it's going to be, it's Mitch McConnell, or it's McCarthy in the House, or it's going to be this Republican or that Republican. That's always the way it is. And that's how it's going to be, because it's a good cop, bad cop situation. Y'all are being played beyond belief. There is not two parties. It's one party. This is why they're called a duopoly. And they sit here and they act on behalf of the rich and the ultra wealthy, because that's who they listen to. They're not listening to you. What does Savvy always say? It's not about left versus right. It's about class. Look, those of you who are conservative, or those of you who are on the right, hear me out. Especially those of you who are, not making that much money. You're struggling to make ends meet. What if I told you that you could have a say in how your workplace operates, and also you got paid for the surplus labor that you help produce? What if I told you that you could determine whether or not your job gets shipped overseas? What if I told you that you could have healthcare for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors, and you actually will be spending less for your healthcare? And your healthcare will be the same as everybody else. You'll have the platinum version, and you'll be spending even less money. What if I told you that you did not have to pay back your student loans, and that money can go back into your household? What if I told you that your kids won't have to be cannon fodder in another country to protect opium fields or oil fields for a corporation? What if I told you that your wages are going to go up to a living wage, and you didn't have to worry about trying to make ends meet like you are now? What if I told you that you don't have to worry about childcare, that when your wife or partner has a child, then they will be able to not only have the child and be able to keep your income going, but you'll also be able to take time off you and your partner so that you're able to take care of your child and to spend time with it, to watch it grow. This is the thing. We on the left, these aren't socialist issues or communist issues. These are human issues. And the people like I described are standing in the way. The McConnells, the Pelosi's, the Trumps, the Bidens, the Obamas, the Bushes, the Clintons, all of them, they're standing in the way. And yes, even some that sounds like they're your partner or they're with you, like the Bowmans and the Jayapals, they are also part of that same team. That team is against you. It's team workers versus wealthy. And the wealthy have been extracting resources from us. We are basically the first offense as far as their move when it comes to imperialism, because they extract the resources from us and then they go abroad and extract the resources from other people in other countries. Now, are there some people who are running in the Democratic Party that mean well? Yes, there are some people who definitely mean well. They do. But what have we been noticing over the last 18 months or so? You don't change the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party changes you. They agree with each other so much to the point where they're working with each other to make sure that your student debt doesn't get canceled. And don't give me that bullshit about, well, we signed a contract and so, for that loan, and so we have to pay back that loan. Do you agree with loan sharks then? Because that's what they are. That's what Sally Mae and all them are. They're just loan sharks. So is that justified? Is that okay? That every single year you're paying on the interest and you're never paying on the principal and you're locked in. And then you can't even declare bankruptcy, which should be a right by the law. But yet that right was taken away. So no, absolutely not. People need to realize it's all one big club and you ain't in it. And the only reason why that you keep falling for it is because they push it your way. And they make it seem like you have no other choice. They act like that you never heard of the Green Party or any other third party out there. Or that you can get your ass in the streets and you can make change by making demands and making the comfortable uncomfortable. Honestly, I'd rather just make the comfortable uncomfortable. Yes. Does electoral politics have a measure of what we need in our society? Yeah. They are a means to an end. By the way, if you're listening on podcast, then you guys are going to have to listen to the rest of this on video because I'm not stopping right now because this is too juicy. But thanks for listening to the JB Font Show on podcast. Y'all have a great one. But yeah, I'm really just trying to convey right now what the seriousness of this is, because they're going to do this every year. This is going to be, this is the most important election of our lifetime. Oh, you guys got to vote Democrat because we're going to end up with another Donald Trump. You know what? We do have another Donald Trump. His name is Joe Biden. And the fact is that people will want to apologize for the same that Donald Trump did, Joe Biden's doing right now, and the Democrats are actually apologizing for it. What does that tell you? Because I really don't know what to tell you beyond, yo, like, wake the fuck up. And yet, look, you can overturn Citizens United, and that's fine. We can try to do that. But also, why aren't we overturning Buckley versus Vallejo? Why aren't we trying to make more worker co-ops within the United States so that workers can actually own part of the company? And yes, corporations aren't people. You know, it's crazy because we're sitting here, and look at how look at who they obey. And they, by meaning politicians, who they obey. They obey the captains of industry, the corporate overlords and whatnot. And because of that, they don't listen to us. How do you make it so that they listen to us? We had a general strike summit on RBN a few weeks ago, which was a success. I encourage you all to go over to Revolutionary Blackout Network. If you're on Twitch, you can go there. If you can go to on YouTube or in Rockfin and look that up. And we talked about the need for a general strike. Why would that be necessary? What do these capitalist oppressors, what language do they speak? Money, 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 money. And if that's what they speak, then guess what? Then you take it away. Because who makes these billionaires billionaires? Isn't it us? Isn't it our surplus labor that creates them to have so much money? Yes. Number one, you can do that. Number two, once you're able to try to get, their attention, spook them. Spook the politicians. Be like, look, we got your masters wrapped around our finger now. So what's up? I think that's something that, that can be done. And truth be told, you don't even need that many people. You need maybe about 10% of workers, something like that. And you're right, Eric. General strike is great. And what are the demands? I mean, they should be things that focus on the material needs of people. A thriving wage, universal health care. How I argue that we cut, the defense budget by at least 50% and reallocate that money to different areas, that will help people as far as like, tuition-free education, cutting the military so that we can help save the environment, doing an infrastructure deal that will dwarf, the Green New Deal that the Green Party came up with, because it's in dire need right now. I mean, everybody and their mamas basically are looking at that movie Don't Look Up, and basically is just a reflection about how we're dealing with the climate crisis right now. Oh, Eric, I didn't get to see that yet, but I'm going to take a look at that after the stream. But yeah, but thank you for that. I'm going to take a look at that. But that's the thing, man. People need to wise up to what's really going on about how, you know, the Democrats and Republicans are pretty much all in the same party. Now, if you got somebody that's running locally, it might be a chance. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to err on the side of caution and go third party all the way. Because, truth be told, you can't trust them. Now, if you think that you can trust them and go that route, be prepared to be disappointed. I mean, for anything when it comes to politics, be prepared to be disappointed. But I say prepare for the worst mentally, but hold their feet to the fire like crazy to prevent it from happening. But truth be told, I don't trust them. I think direct action is the best way to go. Direct action, and then just do what you basically can as far as electoral policy. And just do the best you can as far as electoral politics is concerned. Just go third party and leave the rest. Kerry Matthews says, yes, cut our offense, defense contractors in Nova already have their luxury homes. Yeah. I think that's the best way to go about it, because I'm tired of this wondering, if humanity is going to survive on this planet because of the decisions that we are making as far as the military is concerned. Like, why in the hell are we funding a military that is contributing to the pollution of our planet? And the military, all they're doing is extracting resources for corporations for short-term profits. Why are we doing that? That doesn't make any sense. Yes. Power concedes nothing without a demand. And also, he continued to say, it never have and it never will. Absolutely. It says, been working here in Maine, even though Collins is still in place. That was all about name recognition. And you guys also have ranked choice voting there too, right? So, all Northern Virginia. Thank you so much. Okay. And yes, war definitely is a racket. I'm just to the point right now where I'm tired of people falling for it. Oh, and there was another point that I wanted to make. Oh my gosh. I got you. There's another point that I wanted to show you guys. And actually I wanted to react to this in real time for you guys, because I haven't watched it yet. But all right, so
but the Democratic Party today, like, is less functional internally, despite the fact that we probably have more in common today, meaning I would say that we're pretty much uniformly an anti-racist party. There's obviously going to be some exceptions. We're very much supportive of women in politics. That was not the case back then. the big issues that divide us are the financial issues. You know, labor or not labor. You know, are you an Obama Democrat or are you a Labor Democrat? So with that being said, Manchin is not operating from a place of being a team player in the Democratic Party the way that Lyndon Johnson did. Lyndon Johnson had an agenda to get things done. Joe Manchin clearly does not have that agenda or that motivation. I don't think Joe Manchin wants to be leader. I don't think he wants to be president. I think he's a sociopath and probably like one of the worst ones in Washington, which says a lot. But at the end of the day, I don't think I don't think it's about money even, because he's making a lot of money. Like everyone was like, oh, you know, Sinema's just trying to get a job on CNN. Hey, breaking news. She could have left Congress and gotten a job on CNN. Like she's not doing this for $200,000 a year. There's something much bigger in their psyche. And you know, and I don't know also who's in his ear on the other side.
Hold up. Since when did they get to determine that the Democratic Party is an anti-racist party? I mean, hold on. Okay. Might I remind you of Black Lives Matter Alley or kneeling in kente cloth? Like, what type of anti-racist policy has the Democratic Party really outside of just some social issues? How have they really affected especially Black and brown people in a positive way? Like, what have they really done? How are they on reparations? I mean, look. She called Joe Manchin a sociopath. I would argue that Joe Manchin is to the left of Joe Biden. And yet you pushed for us to vote for him. Congratulations, Nomiki. You know, and he's not a team player in the Democratic Party. He is a team player. He's the fucking goalie. He is the team player because that's what the Democratic Party actually wants. And so here's the funny thing. The two people that you just saw, they are people who I consider who are deeply mistaken. One of them's not even in this country. He's actually in Canada, but for some reason he keeps trying to push us into the Democratic Party, even though it won't really have that much of an effect on him. Maybe indirectly, but not truly directly. But he's a Canadian. He already has his healthcare, so fuck that. And then the other one seems to think that all we got to do is just elect a few more progressives. And all we got to do is just stay in the Democratic Party. We cross our eyes and cross our fingers and cross our toes. And maybe, just maybe something will happen. Maybe something will happen when I get the ability to cross my scrotum. Maybe, just maybe something will happen. I'm telling you right now, this is crazy. Because they're thinking, well, LBJ was a racist. They don't give a shit about Black people. They only do it for political convenience. Did FDR really give a fuck about Black people? No. They never do. So my thing is, so this whole thing about LBJ, why? Look, Why are we laundering LBJ, FDR? Why are we laundering Trump? Why are we laundering Obama? Why are we laundering Bush? Why are we laundering Clinton? Why are we laundering these people? It doesn't make sense. All because they have a D in front of their names? Like, who the fuck? Raziel says the people who want you to remain inside the Democrat Party are also the same people who don't want to end their access to the Democrat Party. It's the gravy train. It's the gravy train. You know, why did, don't, a lot of people in mainstream media, when they ask a question and the politician skirts around the answer, why don't they go, you didn't answer my question, let me repeat it again, and push them on it? Why? Because they want that access. Bill Bradley says people don't talk about it, but one of the main reasons LBJ wanted to pass the Civil Rights Act was because the Russians were using segregation to say communism was a superior system. So yeah, this is one of the reasons why, it was making us look bad internationally. He definitely didn't care about people. Bill Bradley, that was your mic drop moment. Great point. Thank you. I believe scrotum should remain uncross-proof. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, what are we doing here? And might I remind you, these are the same people that sat through 2016 and 2020. And y'all still think the Democratic Party is the party? Y'all still there? Yeah, Pramila Jayapal saying that, he's one of the most progressive, and she gives him an A rating and blah blah blah. Maybe I should grab some chapstick, and kissing all that ass. Crazy. It doesn't make sense to somebody who wants to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and you want to call him progressive. Yeah, right. Yeah, FDR did some good things and did bad reasons. Yeah. Just ask the Japanese. And Raziel says, yeah, we do forget that all those policies FDR pushed for was for the white working class. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm happy for the white working class, but what about us? What about people like me? What about my parents and grandparents? So yeah, I just wanted to come on here, and this was my inaugural episode into Twitch as well. Welcome to the JB Font Show. Because I felt it necessary to come out swinging, on this issue, because at the best I can in short notice, because, I only took myself a couple of hours to get prepared for this episode, but I felt it necessary because, we're going to be hearing this in the next 12 to 18 months. Actually, no, we're not even that long. I'm sorry. Because I'm thinking about 2024, but within the next, give or take 6 months, 5 to 6 months, you're going to start hearing this is the most important election of our lifetime regarding the midterms. And then about 18 months after this, you're going to be hearing that like crazy in 2024. And then if you try to vote third party, everybody's going to start saying to you, well, no, because you're technically voting for the Republican Party. When it's like, no, I'm voting third party. See, there are more than 2 parties. And if you decide not to, because you're just burnt out from it, that's okay too. As long as you're, pushing for things on the ground, maybe doing some mutual aid to help out your neighbors, that's fine too. Because people are burnt out from electoral politics because they pretty much saw the cesspool that it is and they've given up. And that's okay too. You can give up on electoral politics, but one thing I tell you not to give up on is your neighbor. Just don't give up on them. Because we need each other. And by your neighbor, I'm not just talking about people who live next to you. I'm talking about, I can be your neighbor. Don't give up on me. Don't give up on humanity. Because there are people like us who actually want a better life for everyone, not just for small few at the top. Raziel says, the matter of fact, they've been spent the last 75 years taking it all back. Yeah. And you and Susan Sarandon are going to kill Roe versus Wade. And why didn't they ever codify that into law? If it's so important, especially when they had a supermajority back in 2008, why didn't they codify it into law? I mean, Democratic supermajority, you had Obama as president, and they had a majority in the House. I mean, why couldn't they just prevent it? Why couldn't they just make it a law? What did I just say? 2 cheeks, same ass. And in between them is a whole lot of shit. Let's be real. And so the Democrats and Republican parties, they go to the same country club. They go to each other's weddings and social functions. When they go to the spa and one of them's getting the massage, the other one lays right next to them and they start talking about everything else besides politics because they're all in the same club. Bill Bradley says they needed to codify sexual orientation and gender identity in the Civil Rights Act. The courts ruled sex was an umbrella term, but that is easily undone. Raziel says, I had an argument with a friend. She completely forgot that Obama and the Democrats had a supermajority in 2010 and did jack shit with it. They could have gotten universal health care. Dear Lord. Bodify can still codify Roe versus Wade. If that's true, then that's even more damning. But she was like the Tea Party. So the Tea Party, and they didn't have the numbers. If you don't have the numbers, and you have a filibuster-proof majority, then what's wrong? That whole compromise unity talk that Obama and Biden were talking about, that was basically code word for we're going to make it so that it makes it easier for the Republicans to do what they want because we actually agree with them. That's what it is. Because every single time they try to negotiate or try to work with Republicans to make it bipartisan, then guess what? We get screwed over. Look, what's the approval rating for policies like Medicare for all? Isn't like over 50% for Republicans? Almost 90% for Democrats? Why isn't it a policy? Why isn't it law yet? I think you guys got the gist of what I've been trying to say for the last hour and a half, right? Y'all got it. Y'all pretty much got it. I mean, I'm not gonna continue to beat a dead donkey or elephant, but hell if I know. But yeah, a lot of y'all were misled. And a lot of people who are watching on Twitch, you guys are probably, under the age of 30. Hi, older millennial here. And you guys are probably like, thinking, that, there's some points here that, need to be taken in. And just realize that there's a lot of things that I've been saying that's kind of doomerish. And I do apologize if it feels that way. But there are also a lot of solutions. And thank you for Eric for reminding me of that. There are solutions, like, providing mutual aid to your neighbors. We can't necessarily depend on them to save us. We have to save ourselves. And mutual aid doesn't have to be monetary. Mutual aid can be, just helping out other people, If you have skills that you can use to help somebody out, then you can do that. Are you working someplace and they're not treating you right as workers? Could you form a union? I know there is, he frequently watches us in New Lefty Circles. You have, my goodness, I'm blanking out on his name. For some reason, I feel bad, but he started a ride sharing program that was a co-op. Why not start that? If you guys can get some money together and start a company, a co-op. Or if you know of somebody that just started a job and they need somebody to watch their kids, do you have some time to just watch their kids without charging them? Are you good at computers? Can you help somebody out there? Do you know somebody that needs, to apply for Social Security disability or something like that? You know how to work the system. Can you do that? Are you in law? Are you a lawyer or an attorney? Somebody that needs some assistance in some way, shape, or form. Are you helping them out pro bono? These are some things that you can do as far as mutual aid. Are you good at fixing things? Can you fix some things in people's houses that need to be fixed? Because they're struggling financially. How are you treating people online? How are you talking to people? How are you interacting with people in real life? Offline. Roger Meadows. Yes. Thank you. Roger Meadows is awesome. Yeah. So co-op ride share in New York. Yes. Thank you. I'm just saying, there's so many things that we can do and we don't have to necessarily ask what their political affiliation is. Just help them out. Just be there for them. Because ultimately, we're fighting for human issues. I know it's not easy, but we do what we can for other people because we're all in this together. Even though there are elected officials that aren't in it with us. So yeah, just be cognizant. And one of the number one things to do is follow the money. If you can do that, then you'll go far. And your understanding will blossom. Just follow the money. Go to opensecrets.org and, Do it that way. And yeah, I do feel better, once, pivoting to solutions. It feels more hopeful, and it gives people the tools to make that hope into a reality. So you're right, Eric. Definitely. I should have a solutions just like show, just all solutions. I think I should do that. I think I'll do that because we need that. Bill Bradley says Hedges didn't exactly lose. The courts really didn't have standing, and they wouldn't even take the hearing. Oh, I'm not. Oh, okay. You're talking about something else in the chat. I'm sorry. Chris Smalls is doing great work against Amazon. Yes. So yeah. So I am going to end it here because I got the RBN roundtable in a little while, and I got to prepare for that. That should be in about an hour and a half. So y'all gonna see a lot of JB today. So yeah, just one of my things that I always like to end with is just leave the world better than you found it. And even though you don't need to change the entire world, you just need to improve somebody's world, just by a little bit, just a little. And be proud of yourself when you do it. Don't think that just because I did one small little thing, it wasn't enough. Even if, look, if 1,000 people come up with one nail to hammer in to help build a house, that one nail helps build that house. So your one small gesture, one small little thing that you did to help improve somebody's world helps build a foundation to help us out in the future, to help improve the world in some way, shape, or form. So that's all you got to do. Even if it's just how you can shift in how you treat somebody, or shift in how you react to somebody. If they may react in a hostile way, just try to center yourself and think, why is this person reacting this way? And how can I help this person to be in a better place or a better position so that they can make the necessary adjustments? And just do what you can in that way. But I'm off my soapbox. So, once again, if you'd like to support me further, you can buy me a coffee at coffee.com/JBFont. It's in the Chiron here. You guys can go there. And look, it's always also in the link in the description below. But like I said, leave the world better than you found it. And try to drink some water today too, because I don't know, water's good for you, whatever. But love you all. Cookies, and wish y'all, bacon wrapped scrotums and shit, whatever. I don't know, what the hell.